Prisoner to painter. Prisoner to painter. Hard work, dedication. Rainy days, inspiration. Prisoner to painter. And now, a word from your local Pope dealer.
And there. Probably runs faster than my shit.
And we're live.
Awesome. Welcome to the Prisoner to Painter podcast. I'm Nathan McDermott.
And I'm Katie McDermott.
And today joining us, T-Mitt, rapper. I wrote down some stuff here. Producer at Jack City Records, LLC. Recording artist at 2015 FDE, Jack City Records. I screenshotted the mission statement, but I do not have my phone. Facebook followers, 3.7. So it looks like you're trying to do something big here. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right, man.
That's good,
It's
man.
a good vibe, good day, man. It's just another Sunday. Sunday's always like a relaxed day for me, it seems like.
Right on,
Not too
man.
much going on. Just got to plot the next week.
Yep. Right on, man. Well, here I try to think of something to talk about prior, and then I always can't, so I just go right into the story. So, so I always ask, where do you say your story starts? But then I say that, and then you answer, and then I still go back to where I was. So, what's your earliest childhood memory that you can think of?
My earliest childhood memory. That's a hard one to think about. Probably I was in school in Tampa, actually Ruskin, Florida. I remember that. It's probably my earliest memory. I used to run around there crazy when I was young. I was probably, 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
I went to a lot of different schools, so that's probably the deepest one, the farthest memory I have.
Okay.
Living in Florida, yeah.
Right on. Okay. Well, that's perfect. That leads me into my next one. Where did you grow up? Florida, then?
No, but I grew up for a little while in Florida, but I actually grew up in Parma and Jackson. So Jackson County, but between Parma and Jackson. But I lived in Florida. I've lived in Mississippi. I've lived in many places. So
Okay.
yeah.
Kind of. I gonna say I picked up on it because you got an accent, but I couldn't tell from where. So it would be a mixture of a couple. Huh?
Some people tell me that, but I can't tell. I don't know.
I don't know. I live out west. They said Michiganders say their A's weird.
Yeah.
Like they say Colorado.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm guilty as hell of that. Oh man, what was your childhood like?
It was okay, man. I was adopted, so it was I wouldn't say lower class. We were probably middle class family. I mean, it wasn't the greatest. I didn't have cable. I know that.
Oh,
But my mom treated me good. My sisters were kind of the ones there. They was there majority of the time. My father, I remember, it was like I said, I was adopted, so it was I call them my mother and father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they was cool. They never fought really. I don't remember have memories of them fighting or being alcoholics or drug addicts or nothing like that. But I just developed my own belief system or something. I don't know what happened. I got really belligerent and just became a delinquent. I don't know.
Man, I'm glad you said that because I've always wondered this. Did you feel more loved being adopted? Never. I've always wanted to ask that because somebody cognitively chose to love you compared to like giving, but did you feel more loved? Do you think?
I mean, definitely for sure. Now that I look back at it, growing up, I wouldn't have understood that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
could have asked me that when I was 16, and I would have been like, nah. You know what I mean? It would have been a whole different thing. But now that I look back, being 35, I'm like, man, they did a lot. Especially now that they're gone.
Mhm.
It's like, man, it opens my eyes. Like, man, especially I was incarcerated a lot myself growing up. Juvenile jail, prison. So that in itself was like them being by my side. Kind of was like I look back like ain't nobody else was there like that.
Right.
My biological parents weren't even there.
Mhm.
My father, my dad, I should say, not my father. My dad was in prison, and my mom was 13 when she had me.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that, but yeah. So she was young
Mhm.
when she had me, and the state took me. Actually, I was on Henrietta Street right here in Jackson when they took me from my mom.
Right on. 13 is kind of young, so I I can see why. You know, not gonna put my 2 cents in, but 13 is real damn young.
Yeah, I mean, and there's other stories behind it. I guess I don't really know the full story. I just know that I was like wrapped up in a blanket, and she wasn't there.
Understood.
So I think I was 6 weeks when they took me or something like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to dig up some bad stuff, but I do that on purpose because the success stories like wow, man, from that to this, like that's crazy cool.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, people ask me that, and I don't think people know. You know what I mean? They really need to know that. It's there. The news is there. People know that. Some people don't. It's just a thing. I don't know. My mother, yeah, it was in the 80s, 89. So I don't know what my mom was going through back then. I was adopted, and I'm blessed for that. I'm happy. You know what I mean? I can't complain about nothing after that. I did make my own choices. I did mess up my own, my own life, but I'm trying to bounce back. So
right on. Well, it seems like you're doing all right, though.
I'm trying to slowly, gradually up.
Hey, man, the turtle always wins the race anyway. So fuck it.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Can you describe your childhood home?
It was nice.
Cool.
It was laid back. It wasn't I don't know. I guess I could try to think what kind of answer you want for that.
No, whatever answer you give is good.
I didn't grow up in the hood. I didn't grow up in the ghetto, if that's what you know. I just grew up middle class. I didn't have very many struggles like that in that aspect. My parents, after I was adopted, they took care of me.
Yeah.
They did the best they could. And we grew up clean, I would say.
Awesome. Well, and the reason I ask that is because it's like I grew up kind of the same way, like middle class, maybe a little bit of money, not rich, but
right.
It seems like people like me and you are the ones that end up prison, fucked up, doing fucked up stuff, and then it's like people that came from bad progressively just gets better, and I've just found that to be funny. It's like I grew up in a great childhood, great everything, and then I choose drugs, alcohol, and I fuck my life up. And then it's like the people who grew up with drugs and alcohol seem to go a better route from the get-go.
Well, it's like the story in Two Brothers.
Yeah, the one that sees his dad, like both brothers sees their dad drink. One brother grows up to be a drunk because he wants to be just like his dad. The other brother grows up to be sober because he wants to be nothing like his fucking dad. Right. So just kind of that mentality. I guess. I'm curious.
I guess I see what you mean. Like my sisters that grew up in my house, they grew up. One of my sisters grew up to be very successful. X-ray technician, and she got a family, kids. Everything, living out in Idaho.
Yeah.
My other sister lives in Howell now. I mean, she recently got divorced, but she's still living, and doing good. She never had addictions. Neither one of them had addictions. So I can see that, but I got my biological siblings, and they all have their own flaws. You know what I mean? Like my biological sister, she's like, I want to say 21, maybe 22 now or something, but she's been through a lot down there in Florida. She was shot. She probably has her own, little addiction somewhere. That I ain't talked to her in years, so I don't really know. I just know some things, but everybody has their own backgrounds, and I guess it's just really about choices. You know what I mean? Some people come in the world thinking certain ways, having different morals, and I guess it just comes down to that. I don't know. You
ever see that movie Red One with it's got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the guy that he picked, or a Spider-Man?
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams. Well, so it's a movie about Santa Claus. It fucking made me cry, seriously. But Santa says every decision matters, big or small. Yeah, and it's true though. It's like
it is for sure.
Like from what you grab at the grocery store to, it's like everything fucking matters. So that's great.
No, it does for sure.
Who was the most influential person in your life?
The most influential person. I would have to just say music. I was so stuck in music at a point, but that was it. That's all I cared about. Like I always had my headphones on. After I started getting, older and kind of understanding, and after I, especially when I was adopted, that's when the music was like, that's all I cared about. I just started listening to music. That's how I learned everything, understanding most of my morals, I guess. You know what I mean? In a way, understanding what's good and what's wrong and what's right and what's bad. Like the music, and even now, like I look back at some of the music, like damn, that music ain't good. I ain't gonna let my kid listen to that. You know what I mean? So I try to really look back now, like, why was I listening to that?
Yeah, and some of like going back to school, some of those fucking songs they played in the middle school dances. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
They were trying to do it, they were so terrible.
It was clean versions. Don't get me wrong.
But still. What kind of rules did you have growing up?
What kind of rules? Well, see, that's where my story gets complicated because I got, after we moved back home from Florida,
Yep.
I think I was 10, 11. That's when I really started listening to music. I remember we had that big old blackout on the East Coast. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And after that, like, I was working at Wendy's, and I think 2004, I would have been 14. So at about 13, 14, I ended up going to juvenile for 8 months of that year. And then I just ran away from home after that. When I finished my time, because I went to juvenile for truancy.
I was just gonna ask why if you didn't mind. Okay.
So after that, there was my mom and dad couldn't stop me. I was like, there's no way you're going to lock me up because I don't want to go to school. And I just became rebellious after that. It was over with.
Right.
So I wasn't even home. And I hurt my mom for that. I know I did. She told me that before she passed. And she said, she forgives me. But I'll never forgive myself, because all them nights my mom was crying that I was gone.
Yep.
And I'd be gone for months at a time. And if my 16-year-old daughter does that to me, oh, hell no. I'm out here looking for her every day. I would not give a fuck. I don't know if I can cuss on you.
Yeah, you're good.
I didn't even think about it. But I'd look back like, there ain't no way. I can't believe I did that to my mother. You know what I mean? She was just trying to help me. You know what I mean? Did a lot for me, adopted me.
Yeah.
And I'm out here running the streets thinking I'm, you know what I mean, just trying to find my way. And I guess I found out the hard way.
I say this story pretty openly, and today's all about you. I give the same feel. Today's all about you. It's not about us. But I do relate, not compare. So my relation to this is, I stole my mom and dad's mortgage one time, $1,000. No, I did. I stole $1,000 from them, dude. And my mom forgives me now, and she says, you were a kid, and I'm like, fuck, kids don't do that. But then I get to hear from people. I'm like, kids are bad. Kids are fucking bad. So don't beat yourself up for leaving home, really, dude. It's like, I never understood what she meant to, like, it's like kids are kids. Kids are fucking bad, dude. I talk to other people, like, my old boss, it's like his kid. He talks about his kids. They come for money. So what they stole was a little bit more than $1,000.
Right.
So it's like, kids are kids, man. Don't beat yourself up over. I know you don't need to hear that from me, but
Right. Well, I think it's just more I dwell on the fact that time I can't never get back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that time I could have been, being a teenager.
Yep.
Instead of being rebellious.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be rebellious. Then I did, but now I'm like, man, I didn't want to do that.
I wanted to be an adult at 13.
Yeah, and I
And
thought,
now you're an adult and you're like, this shit's
Yeah, I'm at 13 again.
yeah. No, I'm like, man, shit. That was the dumbest choice I made in my life, really.
Right on. So, so you said, kicked out of school, or not kicked out, truancy for not going to school. Did you ever go back to school?
I actually did. Yep. I got my GED while I was in the Michigan Department of Corrections, so that helped me a lot, and it really did.
Okay.
It took me 4 months to get it, so I don't know why I didn't really just stay in
Do it at the
school.
beginning.
I would have graduated in 08, so I would have been fine if I would have just stuck it out.
Right on.
I think I had 3 or 4 years left when I dropped out anyway, so I don't know.
Right on.
Even they force you to go to school in juvenile, so.
Yeah. Well, the backpedaling just a little bit, because I try to stay with the story. What was your favorite subject and teacher when you did go to school?
I remember getting good grades in science for some reason. I don't even like science, but it was weird. Reading was my thing. I love reading. Obviously, that might come with reading lyrics all the time.
Yeah.
But I was a reader. Like, I could read a book so quick. I still can, but I don't even like reading that much now. Like, my head starts hurting when I look at them little letters.
Yeah.
My eyes. I don't know. I gotta get some glasses. But yeah, I think reading was my big thing. Math, I hated math.
Yeah. Fuck it.
I mean, once I'm getting out of the motor, I kind of go with numbers. But back then, when I was a kid, obviously none of us want to do math.
No.
Who wants to go home and go do some fucking algebra?
No.
Right.
But you did. What's a memory that makes you laugh when you think about it?
A memory. I guess it would have to be the first time I smoked some weed. One of the first times I smoked weed. I think I was 13 or something. It was before I went to juvenile. And I'm sitting on a couch, kind of like this, and we just smoked some weed out of a. Oh no, I ate the pizza first. Let me just say that. I ate pizza first, and then we smoked weed out of a pop bottle. I've never really smoked weed out of a pop bottle, so we smoked this whole bowl. And I'm sitting there on the chair, like on the sofa, like this, and I start dry heaving. And next thing I know, that pizza, I could still see it in my head today. That shit projected out like I was in a movie, like it was just, yeah, I'll never forget that. And I think a couple of days after that, I was on a porch with one of my old friends out of Parma. We always kicked it every day, but I'm on the porch and he's cooking. I hit the joint and I started to feel like I was about to pass out. And there's no railing on the porch. And I'm falling backwards, and I'm just trying to grab the grill to stay up. And he's like, no, knocks my foot. And I just, boom, right on the ground, bro. That shit was so funny. I think I had to have been 14, 13. I was like, man, those are the first bad times of smoking weed. Never forget that shit. Smoke me up.
Man, so it sounds like you were always into music. So some of these questions don't matter because we kind of got out of school. So do you think school prepared you for real life when you were in school in juvie?
Maybe in certain ways, but now that I realize how the education system works and how it's designed, I know what's how it's working. But
yeah.
I feel like some ways, yeah.
Okay.
I think it helped me because I wouldn't be able to do a lot, especially like even with recording music. I gotta count, I gotta use math all the time.
Yeah.
More than what I want to. But I got to. So that helped, reading obviously helped me, and I didn't think I'd use, reading. I wouldn't need reading, but I mean that's just a natural part of life. So
yeah.
I remember times where I just hated reading.
Right on.
Yeah.
So you went to juvie. When did you get out?
June, let's see. That would have been 04, 05. Well, I did different every year. I was okay. 04, 05, 06, I was in juvenile.
Okay.
I think I even transferred from the juvenile to the Jackson County Jail because I was still finishing a term for something, and then I actually was going to face more charges as an adult.
Okay.
I have to look back at my record. I don't remember what it was. Something was like operating while impaired and just stupid shit that I did as a kid. I can't even remember. Honestly, I have to go back and look at it.
That's fine, man. I get it. Unfortunately, I get it. What came So you said you finished school in juvenile. What came after high school? Is how I'm going to word it. What like job, relationship? What came after?
Oh, so I was 16. My oldest daughter, was born in 08, which would have been the year that I graduated.
Okay.
Supposed to graduate.
Okay.
I would have been 17. I was having a child, and I had a family that I was starting, kind of.
Awesome.
I was working at a shop, I think. I was working at a couple shops that whole span of time that she was born.
Okay.
I even remember living in Mississippi before she was born because her mother called me like, the due date, telling me the due date, and then I came back up here. But that was like 2007, 2008, yeah.
Okay.
She was born in September, so it was just I was a parent young at a teenage age. My mom, like I said, she was 13, so I didn't even expect me to have kids, until I was after 18. But it happened, I guess,
You and the mom still get along, talk at all?
Not really, no. Not like I would like to.
Okay.
My daughter's kind of got her own, mind. They live a completely different life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They have their own morals, their own belief systems. So it is what it is. But I mean, that child support, I'd say it's sucking the bank right out there. And that shit's just nonstop.
But sometimes the right decision, or sometimes the hardest decision is the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, there ain't no choice behind it though, regardless.
Yeah.
It's not what you get. Yeah, it is what it is. I love her to death. She's my oldest child. She got her own life. She got her own, dreams, I hope. But that's what I would say.
Okay. Right on.
What's your zodiac sign?
Scorpio.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
God says it all. Thank you for coming. Oh, shit. That's funny. Man, so you were dad at 17, come back from Mississippi. How was the first year or two with your daughter born?
It was a different challenge. It was fatherhood is a whole nother level, you know. I'll never forget the day she was born. I cried. I really did, like uncontrollably. I don't even know what happened. Like seeing her being alive and crying, that's a whole, you know, especially your first child.
You know, I hear that all. I haven't gotten the privilege yet, but I hear that from so many men. It's like I don't even know why I cried.
Yeah,
I don't fucking cry.
I know. It's really weird. It's like some type of
Like you made, like you and another person made that.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's some type of energy that goes on right there for, you know, men to cry. I don't know about other men that have had kids if that's the same, but for me, that was just like,
Gotcha.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, damn, life's really changing. Right?
Man, so that was what, 17 or 18. You slipped in something when we were starting that you've been to the MDOC. What happened there? So 17, 18. When did you go to prison?
I went to prison when I was 22, I think, or 21. I don't even remember. It was 2020, 13, 2000. What's 2025 right now? So yeah, it was over 10 years ago.
Right on.
I did 5 years, but it was a probation violation that necessarily sent me to prison.
Okay.
Not necessarily my case that I went to prison for.
Okay. I also know how that shit goes.
I was belligerent still. Even going, I was 21, 22. I was still in that mind state. You know what I mean? Even after being in jail, like I just felt so, I don't even know how to explain it, dude. I just felt untouchable. I don't know. I think it was, honestly, if I break it down now that we're talking about, you know, recovery with alcohol, I think it would have been the alcohol. It made me feel like I don't give a fuck. Fuck the PO, fuck the police, fuck them all. Like, we can, you know what I mean? That's how I was, and that's how I talked to the PO on the phone, and that's really what sent me to prison. But I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to really understand that, like, this is not normal. You know what I mean? I'm not supposed to be doing this shit like that. You're not supposed to be drinking like this. I mean, and I that's what, looking back at it, it's like, damn, I made a lot of fucked up choices off that alcohol. And choices that I probably would have never made if I was sober. You know what I mean? Like,
it's every time, it's not that every time I drank, I went to jail, but every time I went to jail, I sure was fucking drinking. Like, I mean, so there's some sort of overlap there. Like,
No, I just felt untouchable, man. I remember doing some, like, I'm not going to get into. I don't want to incriminate myself over here, but I have. And I regret it. I mean, regardless, I regret doing time in jail, juvenile. I don't look at that like, I don't glorify it. You know what I mean? I just don't.
Nothing good about it.
Nothing good about it. I'm happy that I'm sober. I'm living a good life now. My daughters are healthy. And I just keep pushing, you know what I mean? That's it, really.
Well, I'm going to ask a very broad question here, and I know the answer, but I ask everybody, how was prison?
It was all right.
Okay.
I learned a lot. I really did. Like, it's all about how you either going to get locked up and go to prison and prepare yourself and fail or come out the same person, or you're going to go there, you're going to take the tools they give you and you're going to use them the best way you can and then come out a little bit better, you know, with more intelligence. You're going to have more understanding about how you're supposed to live life, or you're going to come out, you know, and go right back in.
I fucking like you.
I
like you.
I've seen people come in A, B, C prefix. I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, these people are coming back and forth. Like, what? I can't even, like, I'll never go back.
Well, and I know prison said this for rehabilitation. Prison doesn't actually rehabilitate people. I get that. But you're the first person with the right attitude. It can do good if you're not in there doing the same shit that you were doing. In my opinion, because I've never actually been to I've been looking at prison. I've been in jail for a year, but I've never actually been to the joint. But going to Jackson County for a year, I fucking never want to do that again. Like, that was enough for me to never go back to jail.
Right.
Fuck, 1 month? Yeah, 1 month really doesn't matter. Really, it didn't. Fuck, whatever. A year though, I'm never going back to that motherfucker. No way, dude.
Right. I mean, it's just all about perspective and what you want to do with your life, really. I mean, everybody's different. You know what I mean? you can utilize all your tools in life. You can utilize the people, the networking, everything, or you can just, do nothing.
Well, I'd say prison's a natural consequence. A natural consequence is nobody does it, it just happens because
Right.
of something. So if you do something, prison will be inevitable. If it's a charge, that would be prison worthy. And then it's like nobody can do anything to get you out of it.
Right. No, then that you're facing the music. I mean, if you're willing, and we've a lot of people, I mean, I'm surrounded by people that's been locked up, and I still got people, that are locked up that I communicate with every day. But, and it's hard because I see these same people, and some of them I've had to block off because they went back to they got locked back up.
Just same old repetitive.
The same stuff. I got some people that went back for 15 years. I got my daughter's mother's in there, you know what I mean? So it's like these people have choices, and it's like, well, I don't know what more you want me to do. You know what I mean? I got friends that call me and message me like, hey, can you send me some money?
Yeah.
Like I could if I really wanted to, but it's hard for me, especially if you're going to go back and keep repeating the same stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do got friends that are in there that are still in there, and they probably won't be out ever.
That's all.
But I mean, that's just life, man. I don't know. Life is crazy. I got a lot of friends that have overdosed and and died drunk driving type. That's where I look at things like, damn, I'm not trying to be like that at all.
And that's why clearly I invite a lot, but that's why I invited you on.
Yeah.
Because like you got some story there.
Oh man, I could go on all day with stories, man. I really could.
What would you say the turning point from like being in and out of like juvie and prison and then deciding like you're not going to do that and you want to do music? When did that like turn for you?
Well, the music's always been there. I was recording music even while I was incarcerated.
Okay.
Even when I was in the halfway house and got out and I wasn't supposed to be recording, I was doing that. Music's always kind of been there. We were actually doing shows in prison too, where I was performing in there, and they got ways where you can put a show on and perform. So prison's not what people really think it is. It's kind of different depending on where you go.
Yeah.
So I was in the mellow area, depending on, I went to prisons obviously that were notorious and stuff. They got their background, but it's just about the people you hang with. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
So because my next question is, and of course this is conversational, so I don't just go off of this. I can
Right.
flip around. So my next question is, when did you really start pursuing your rap career? But before I get into that, just a couple questions before I get to asking like favorite venue, etc. You went through quarantine, right?
Yeah.
In Jackson County.
Yeah.
I hear a lot, and I don't like bringing up any trauma, but I do hear a lot of horrific stories. What was your experience with quarantine in Jackson?
Well, I had a celly that was right above me. I was on the third gallery, so there's 4 galleries. And I believe the dude above me, he was saying some racist stuff or something through the bars, and he had just got to prison.
Okay.
And he said something, and they're like, all right, wait till the bars pop. And as soon as the bars pop for child, that's all you heard was, and it was crazy up there. I don't know what happened to dude. He got hit up pretty well, but you just kind of just keep going. You don't even look. You just, all right, I gotta go eat.
Better than being thrown over, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of that. I remember, I think one time I woke up and everything was on lockdown because of that, but I couldn't see because it's way down the gallery.
Yeah. So, was it cell block 7 or was that before they closed that?
Oh wait, they've closed that. 2002, I think. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was another incident I do remember, and it's probably on the news. I didn't really know much about it. We were locked down for like a week. The CO committed suicide in his car out in the parking lot.
Oh shit.
Yeah, blew his head off. I don't know what happened there with that whole thing. They fed us through the bars. Shit. Yeah, it was hot and miserable, man.
Yeah.
Middle of summertime, man.
So you're always locked down 23 hours a day. So that one little bit of time you get, vote, that sucks.
I worked in quartermaster too. I tried to stay moving, so I would get a job and do things because I didn't like to sit if I could help it.
Yeah.
I'd get call outs to go to places too, because in there you got to fill out a thing to get a call out to go somewhere.
Okay.
I was feeling I'm all out. Like I'm trying to get out. I'm not trying to sit in my cell all day.
Favorite prison, least favorite prison, because I know you bounce around.
Favorite prison.
There's gotta be a favorite or the least bad.
I don't know.
I think that'd be better.
I mean, for me, it would have been. I did most of my time at the West Shoreline Correctional Facility, next to what would have been Brooks up in Muskegon.
Okay. See, I've heard good things. No, but I've heard up north is better than a lot of other places.
I mean, they're all lean back. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
I don't know. I've been to Carson City, JCS, and Parnell, and Muskegon. So
See, the dude that come on and talk about he got to like road commission work up in the UP, so he was hardly ever behind bars. He was always doing some shit.
oh yeah, if you're well, there's non-secure level ones, and then there's level ones, and then it just goes up from there.
Right on.
So if you're in the non-secure level one, then you can walk and work outside the fence.
Okay.
You know what I
So
mean?
he was probably just lucky. Not lucky, but not serious crime.
Well, he was probably on his way home for
Gotcha.
like,
Gotcha.
They got trusty jobs where you can do that when you're on your way home. You got like a year or two left. They put you outside to work behind the gates and stuff.
Because they doubt you're gonna run.
Right.
Yeah,
You're about to leave.
Yeah, I thought you're gonna run. Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. Well then, back to before I ask that dumb question. When did you really start pursuing, or after prison? Did you get a job? Did you start pursuing your rap career more? What comes after prison?
Yeah, I was working. I went straight to music. I was recording my album as soon as I touched down, but
Right on.
I had pieced together some other stuff I had to get, recorded that I had recorded from prison.
Okay.
But yeah, I was working. I had a few different jobs. I think I was working at Controlled Turning. I remember working there. I remember working Crocker Barrel.
Okay.
I hopped around from jobs, a lot. I still do sometimes. But yeah, the music has been there. I've been making music. I think my first album was 2010 or 11. My first single that I've ever had was released back then, over 20 years ago.
Awesome.
I think it was, it would have been 2019, 2020. I just kept plugging away. I just kept going. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just a natural thing.
Hey, no, good shit, man. I just you did a show in Detroit, so you clearly. To me, that's big. So like doing a show at the Music Box is one thing, but going and traveling to a different city and doing that, I mean, so you must be doing something right. It's, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Well, so I do that a lot. We've been doing that for a couple of years. I've actually, we've been in a lot of places. I actually had to cancel that show. So I went to Detroit. Yeah, I canceled it. It was for a festival. I should have stayed and did it, but other things come up and life changes. But so we've done festivals, like there's a festival, Walk the Beat, is actually coming up, I think, in August in Albion.
Okay.
And they go all over. They got one in Grand Haven. There's a couple other cities. Anyway, so they have festivals, certain festivals you can get into, and then they do pay you. I mean, some of them pay you. Some of them, like that one in Detroit, the money was going to go to a recovering place for people, dealing with addiction.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
And I think they're still going today, actually. It was all weekend.
Cool.
So it's like different bands, rock bands, rappers, whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's different type of festivals. Like he had a show he was gonna go to I think it was Illinois or Wisconsin or whatever. But we go all over the place. We try to travel up north, Traverse City.
Yeah. How do you I've always been curious about this. It's got to be tight on your bank account to travel and stuff. Is it, do you do it for the clearly can't all be for the money, but is it to get your name out there? I mean, why? Like why travel?
Well, not only that, it does promote when you're hands on, like me being here. You know what I mean, it's different than if you're zooming me for
For sure.
an interview. So just being hands on, getting out there with the crowd, getting people to really hear you, especially different types of people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just, I guess, just part of the job, promotion, self-promotion, instead of just being online.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way to promote, but you got to really get out there. You got to be active. You got to be, kind of like you guys were downtown, a couple weeks ago?
Yep.
I seen that, it's like getting out there. You got to be like, hey, what's up? We're doing this. And,
yeah. Well, and that's why I'm adamant about having people here. So I'm grateful that they came. I'm very adamant that.
Yeah, no, it's cool having you, man. I respect what you're doing. I think what you're doing is good, and it could probably potentially go somewhere big. A couple of years, just keep pushing at it. Don't stop.
Yes, sir.
You never know where you'll be in 5 years. You'll be have your own building somewhere right here in Jackson. Maybe
The plan is to go to like farmers markets and festivals and events and set up and talk to people.
Yeah.
And
well, dude, inspirational stories are everywhere. Like you bringing your friend. It's like he's got a hell of a fucking story.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can find stories, and I don't think one story is more important than the other because
Right.
it's funny because the most viewed episode I've had was not Phil Tripp or any of these big names. It's just a guy that went to prison and everybody knows and they're happy that he changed his
Right.
life. It's not the realtor or the person who's always been rich.
Right.
People really don't give a fuck about that. They
Right.
care about the underdog.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks. You know?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't say that. People
Story-
care. But,
stories save lives.
yep, stories save lives.
Yeah,
Period.
that's
So,
true.
so going back to your story, because that's what it's about, not me, I apologize. How would you describe your sound and style?
My sound would be a Midwest. It's a Midwest style. It falls in the category, I believe, of like Tech Nine, Eminem, all them guys.
Right on.
We're from the Midwest, so it's like that's the genre that we're in.
Okay.
But I mean, we've all got our own. Detroit's got their own style. You know what I mean? Like I look at Oso's like that Detroit style. You got other people that are conscious rapping. It's a sound that is unique, but it's still in the same avenue of the Michigan, the Midwest style, that sound. Obviously, we're not West Coast because we're not in Cali, but some people like that. So that's what they gravitate to, depending on what their ears like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people like everything. Like,
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
true.
What was your biggest influence musically?
My first influence musically would have been like Bone Thugs and Tupac. When they did that first song together,
Yep.
I was like, I didn't like understand. I'm like, damn, this is Tupac with Bone Thugs. I didn't know who Bone Thugs was.
Okay.
So after that, it was like, whoa, these guys are a whole nother, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother level. And they're Midwest rappers too. You know what I mean? They're from Ohio. So, but they just changed my whole brain. And then when Eminem come out, it was like, man.
Yeah.
It was a whole, I don't know. Twista was one of my favorite rappers. Bone Thugs, all them guys, and then Eminem was in that top three right there with them guys. So it was like, man.
I think it's kind of hard not to like Eminem, to be honest.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
I'll say this much, and people will always get it kind of like, they'd be like, you like Eminem? And I'm like, yeah, I like Eminem. I respect him, but there's some songs I would have much rather not have even said Eminem made.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I will give it that. There's a lot of songs, like I don't listen to Eminem a lot. I do have a couple songs I like of him, but I don't listen to him every day.
Yeah.
I do have like maybe the old mixtape stuff. That's
Yes.
my favorite stuff. Like the Invasion mixtapes, all that stuff.
All the underground shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His newer stuff, like I like it, I respect it. Yeah, I get he's the greatest. He can put some words together, but sometimes like I just be reading his lyrics and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even care why are you saying this?
I agree. It went downhill after Relapse, I think.
Yeah, like I like music that inspires and make you feel, make you feel like, all right, I can, let's punch the day in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I listen and read a lot of that stuff. I'm like, there's no substance. Respect the dude 100%. He's a great artist. I'm not talking shit. I'm no beef, no diss, nothing like that. But I'm just like, man, come on,
So I've evolved with this podcast. You don't get the right answer. You don't ask the right question.
right.
Is what I've always said. So if anybody that has previously been on is watching, I apologize, but I've never heard another artist say, I've read the lyrics and listened to the music. I've never heard another artist say that. So that's quite unique to me.
Yeah.
Is that to learn? Is that to understand the music? Well, why?
Well, I read the lyrics usually to everything that I've even throughout my whole life. You know what I mean? I used to actually, when I had a tape player as a kid, I'd take the headphones out just so I could hear the background vocals in the music and not the main layer of the vocals.
Okay.
That's a weird thing. Like if you do the headphone jack and just plug it halfway.
Yeah.
I used to walk around and do that.
Okay.
And they'd be like, why? My friends would be like, why are you listening to that? I'm like, because there's just a whole other dynamic when you're listening to highlights and just learning how the song is being, processed and made.
Right.
But lyrics especially, it's like you got to really understand what you're listening to.
Well, it's like writing themes
There-
and big pen
there's-
paper.
There's some stuff I've read with like Lil Nas X or Sam Smith, and I would never let my kids listen to that shit. I don't even know how it's on the radio.
Absolutely. I don't know how it's in grocery stores. Some
Yeah.
music.
Blows my mind at some of the stuff I hear, especially on the radio. Like Lil Nas X should not be.
No, it's not. Yeah. What's the favorite song you wrote? Like for your music, what's your favorite song and why?
Right now, I think I had when I just put an album out, but I had a prediction in my head that the song "Pain in My Mind" would probably be the best song on that album.
Okay.
And so far on Spotify, I was proving myself right. So
Cool.
I'm just happy that, and I'll know next week when the analytics come back, but like, because I track all my streams where they come from all over the world. You know, we're streamed in 112 countries, so I'm
Cool.
constantly looking at the graph to see what's.
Yeah.
And there's just certain songs that hit, certain songs that don't.
That's unique. Do some songs hit more in like Asia compared to? I mean, just,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like okay,
Yeah,
cool.
like I've been on Apple charts, and like I can't even. I'd have to look at the name of the country. I don't even know the name of the country.
Okay.
Like I can't pronounce it. You know what I mean? Little countries, small countries,
Mhm.
with a population of probably like 100,000. You know what I mean?
That's cool though.
Shazam
Cool.
charts. I was on the Shazam charts with like 200,000 Shazams.
Okay.
In one of them countries, I don't even. Like I said, I got to go back and look at the names because them names are hard for me to pronounce.
Mhm.
It's really weird to look at, and that's what makes you motivated to keep going because it's like, okay, it's tapping in somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, he like also, and all of our other artists, they all get streams and pings all over the world too now. It's like,
So
man,
cool.
yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
it's a different ball game.
Well, man, you're thinking big. A lot of people that I've met are thinking, oh man, I'm done like Michigan or even like Doofenshmirtz, the tri-state area. Like, no, I'm thinking of the world, or at least the United States. I didn't even get to the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Suicide Boys. They started in their hometown and said that nobody liked it, and they
Go one
got
town.
more out of their town than they did in their town.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny because you don't get a lot of support from the people you know. You get more support from the people you don't know.
Yeah, no, it's actually weird. I get more streams. I think in like I'm gonna try to pull it up.
Yeah.
Grand Rapids in Detroit compared to like my own city, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which is fine. I respect it. It's okay.
For sure.
If I go on here and look at it for this week, I don't even know. Let's see. So it's like this week, past 7 days, it'd be New York, San Diego, San Antonio, Houston, Boston, Denver. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah.
Every week it changes. So
Yeah, that's really
this month, my top city would be Birmingham, Alabama. Like
right on.
for some weird reason, Alabama just blowing it down. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a
So as I learned that, I'm like, okay, well, we might as well keep going.
yeah.
There's no reason to stop.
Well, dude, and my whole goal is if I save one person, and save not even the right word. If I motivated one person, that's enough.
Or
Maybe next
reach.
week it'll be 2.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
next week it'll be 3.
right.
When you go to record, do you have like a routine, a ritual, something that like you always do every single time to get you ready?
I definitely light up some weed. That's usually the first thing that I do. Depending on if I feel like making the beat or finding a beat that I've already made, or maybe just finding another beat from a different producer, just depends. But it has to go off the music. The music usually will spark me first.
Okay.
And then I'll either find some lyrics that I have already wrote, or I'll write new lyrics. It just depends. And then if I'm writing new lyrics, then usually I'll rehearse it all day, a couple
Okay.
hours a day.
Okay.
Make sure it's on point, and then I'll upload the beat, get in there, lay the hook,
Mhm.
and then, just do it piece by piece, either the hook first or the verse first, depending on what it is. And sometimes I'll rehearse it a few times, in there while I'm recording it to make sure that I know how I want to lay it.
Do you ever go off the dome?
Oh, I have. Yeah, I can sometimes. And actually, when I tell people this, like, usually it's all off the dome. It's just in your brain real quick first, and then you write it down or whatever, type it out. But yeah, sometimes we sit there and we just freestyle and just go back and forth talking shit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. How do you feel like your music has evolved over time?
I believe the quality, the subject matter. I was just talking about this the other day with my DJ. Like, man, I hate my old songs. My first songs were just junk. I do. I hate my first songs. I really do. And I think, I don't know about anybody else that I know. Sometimes it's just that time period. You hear it. Like, you can hear it in the songs and the subject. Like, 2011. Like, yep, that sounds like 2011. I don't miss them times because I was in a dark place and I wasn't even in the right mind. Like,
Well, you got to say something to me when you first come down, and you got to start somewhere.
right. You gotta start somewhere.
A lot of famous people do that. Like one of Led Zeppelin's most famous songs, he's like, I actually hate that song.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's Stairway. He hates Stairway.
My most streamed song wasn't even promoted, and I don't even know how it's the most. It's called So Many Questions, and it actually has 2 of my old buddies, and they don't even rap no more. They quit.
Okay.
So it's like the song quality is okay. Like, it's on a level, I'd say it's like a medium level, but I never anticipated it to be almost 400,000 streams. One song. You know what I mean?
This was $500,000.
Yeah, just for one song.
Yeah.
And I've got fucking bunch of songs out,
Yeah.
over 200 songs. So
Oh yeah,
I don't know. It's just different now when I see it. Like, damn,
that's cool
I
shit.
wish I could get more people to make hits. You know what I mean?
That one. Go ahead.
What do you hope or think that people who listen to your music will take away from it? Like, what will they get from your music?
I mean, I guess it just depends what song they listen to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whatever. Like, some people listen to my music to maybe help them going through a dark time, or maybe even to help with an addiction. I don't know. It would probably have to be one of the therapeutic songs that would really, help somebody through, something that they're struggling with.
Right.
If I had to choose.
So, like emotion. You hope
Yeah, an
people
emotion.
get
I try to
emotion.
grab the emotions. Back then, I didn't care. I was really, just snappy and cocky, just trying to rap, whatever. But now I'm like taking heed. Like, I need to. And my daughter even cries some of my songs, and she'd be like, "Dad, why do you gotta make a song like that?" And I'd be like, "Damn!" Like I said, my mom used to tell me, like, "Quit making so many sad songs.
Yeah.
Make uplifting songs."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just haven't. I'm trying to tap into that. You know what I mean? I'm slowly. I gotta be smoked out on some weed. Good weed.
I don't know.
I
I
would
was
listen to sad songs.
an emo kid. Sad songs made me like pumped. Like if it's sad, I'm like, yeah, I'm not sad anymore. And then happy songs, I'm like, man, that's fake. You're not that happy.
Right. I mean, I guess I could see to that aspect, and maybe there are people out there that use it in that form. They listen to it and it makes them feel better.
Or it's like a memory thing,
Yeah.
There's certain songs that I could, like you were saying, like, oh, that's 2011. There's songs I'm like, oh, that's 2020. Oh, that's 2005. Like,
Yeah, you know where your head was, where you was when you heard that first time. Like, man.
What were some of your early challenges, and what was a pivotal moment in your career?
My earliest challenges. I guess, like, you mean just like.
Yeah, maybe affording to be able to buy a mic, or nobody giving you a break at a venue, or like anything of that nature.
like you couldn't play something like, say, how you used to go take a tape to the radio and get it on the radio, or they'd be like, nah, get the side here.
I don't want to play for shit.
I've had that happen.
wow.
K105.3.
No kidding.
That was years ago, though.
Hey, but kudos for trying. I mean, going to the man.
Yeah, they said it's a different way to submit. You can't just.
You keep walking in there.
Steps. Like, I nailed it to them, but they told me, they sent a letter back and said those steps you got to follow.
Oh, God.
Like, and now I understand it, but I don't even care to be on the radio station. I'm trying to think how I would answer the question the best way possible. I don't even know how to answer it, honestly.
No, fine, man.
You stumped me with that one.
Hey, that's fine. What was a pivotal moment then in your career? In terms of like, what was your first venue? Like, when do you think you were actually like, man, I might fucking do something with this?
Oh, okay. So that point, I mean, I guess I see what you mean. Yeah, that was a time when I was going through the Westwood Mall, and I remember some people coming up and handing me a CD. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a group called Thug Line, which was a group back in the day that was they were from Jackson, the South Side, but they were doing music and they were passing their CDs out. So I'm like, man, I listened to it, I liked it, you know what I mean? And that's what really was the moment. I'm like, man, I want to do this, Jackson's we're not even known for music. You got all the other major cities, especially back in there. It's 2002, 2003. Like, so I just started writing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was rapping on cassette tapes.
Oh, God.
That's how I started. I was just rapping on cassette tapes, trying to make my own stuff. But then I ended up getting, programs and hooking up with some producers that, worked out of Jackson, Jacko Production, Face Down Entertainment. Shout out to them, actually, my dog Demas. He's the one who really got me going, moving and making music. He was my producer, and then my homie Face. He passed away. He kind of got me into being able to write better, you know what I mean? And just listening to him write just made me want to write. And try to, not necessarily be better than him, but write like him. You know what I mean? And just that whole formula that he was doing.
Awesome.
But rest in peace to him, man. He passed away a couple years ago. That's sad. He was one of my really close buddies, man. He did everything with me, man, with the music. He got me pushing for sure.
Good stuff, man. What's the best advice you have ever received?
Not let my past define me.
Mhm.
but I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
And every day
I know that's right.
Don't forget where you came from, but also if you spend too much time looking back, you're gonna run into something. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna trip and fall.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, and I still have problems with it every day. You know what I mean? I really do. Which maybe everybody does. I know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
when it comes to that.
You know, people that fucked up. I can't speak for everybody, but I know for myself, it's a constant battle. Like thinking, I don't know, I live in guilt. I
Yeah,
get it. I get it. What are your thoughts on the current shape of the hip hop industry?
It's really quiet. I mean, I've seen, obviously they got this Kendrick Lamar and they had that Drake stuff and they had, a lot of stuff going on. It's just really quiet right now. I think, they're waiting for something to, some type of entertainment to go on. But
I miss the '90s diss tracks. How everybody be fighting each other.
yeah, I mean,
the whole song.
yeah, they still have it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, they've had like just recently the Adam Calhoun and Upchurch stuff going on a couple months ago, and Nicki Minaj and who was it?
Cardi B.
Cardi B.
And then Nicki Minaj and somebody else.
Megan Thee Stallion
Yep.
and whoever she was beefing with. Was it Nicki or somebody? I don't even know. There's so many I don't even keep track of them because I deal with my own stuff myself. So
That's a good line or a good thing to worry about. Where do you see your career heading in the next couple of years, and what is your proudest accomplishment?
I mean, I would hope maybe, there's a level, like I said, a level to this. So I don't want to be no superstar like Rihanna or Eminem. I'm not aiming for that.
Okay.
But if I can make a decent living for a long majority of the time, you know what I mean? I'd be content.
Okay.
So it's still a climb, you know what I mean? You got certain levels, so it's just a climb. That's all. I'm just still climbing.
The best advice I ever got was if you shoot for the sun, you might just hit the moon.
Yeah.
So I shoot for Saturday Night Live, which I might not ever get, but I might get Channel 6 News. Because I shoot so high, you're gonna hit something.
Yeah,
You're gonna hit something. Yeah.
Even if you just take baby steps, that's why I just slowly move. Trying to help everybody, because we got a team of people, and I just try to keep everybody motivated. And not everybody's motivated. It's hard when you got to deal with a whole label, you know what I mean, of people.
Well, I do understand it, especially if one person's doing more than the other, and et cetera. So that could be, and I don't mean like somebody's lazy, but that could be hard because relationships are hard,
Right.
and then you got 4 people trying to do, or however many trying to do the same thing. That could become difficult.
Yeah.
For sure.
And also, like, labels have images. Some labels are bad. Like Hobson wasn't doing that good with his old label, and then he goes to Strange, and it's like, bam, blew up.
He's actually.
Well, Hobson was actually signed with Eric Heller. What was that? Eazy-E's label? I can't even remember.
And his wife took it over, and then he actually wrote a diss song about her, and they made him bleep it all out.
Yeah, he then switched over. He was with Strange. I don't know who he's with now.
He dropped off the face of the earth right now.
No, I mean, he's still doing music. He definitely still in the game, but I think he just dropped a new single actually. But he's with a label. I don't have to look right here either.
Last I knew, I thought he took off. Like, I've seen a video of him like on a boat in the Amazon or something.
No, I mean they do that, and that's the thing with hip hop too. Is there's so many up and coming people nowadays. Everyone that we used to listen to aren't even relevant. He's got 3 million followers.
Well, because with the internet, everybody wants to be famous. And
origin stories with whoever the future king. It's him and Hobson and the future king. That's the last thing.
Bucks with Hobson. I know he's gonna listen to that after we get off.
I really like all of Strange music, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, man, what is your favorite part about performing live? And what is your least favorite part? Actually, I'm gonna throw that in there too.
I don't even know. I would have to say there really isn't no favorite part, honestly. I think it's just, I look at it now, it's like a job. It's just natural.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of like how you guys do this. It's just kind of natural now. When I go put a show on, I just kind of, if I were to say, sometimes I hate the drives. Sometimes I hate, the waits to get in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate how their setup is because it sounds, scratchy or... I remember one time I got up on there to do a show and the tempo was slowed down. And the DJ was like, "Oh, that's normal." I'm like, "It's not. Like, it's low." And he's like, "No, it's fine." And I just had to bite the bullet. And it was crazy. Like, I don't know.
Just try to slow down.
Yeah, little stuff like that.
Yeah. How do you prepare for a show, and what is the energy like connecting with your audience?
Just usually rehearsals, couple days of rehearsals, and making sure we are gonna what songs we perform. We rehearse enough to know that we're rehearsing, and then the background vocals like that. Someone do highlights, all that. All the nits and grits. Make sure that the show goes off.
Do you have hype man?
I do sometimes, depending on the show situation.
Well, that's type of shit that sets you apart. Like I really believe it's not the big things that make people notice you, it's the little things. I really believe that. It's not the whole big picture, it's the little things that, man, if you didn't do that, the whole show would fucking fall apart, is how it feels.
Yeah. I deal with a lot of different promoters and people that find certain shows for me or whatever. Sometimes I do have to go book them myself, and I got to reach out to the venue owner myself. So it varies on how. And then sometimes I'll get a phone call like, "Hey, you want to perform at this festival, or we got this thing going on, this bash?"
Probably a hell of a good feeling to get a call like that.
Yeah. No, recently it's been a lot, and sometimes I've had to turn them down. It sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just gonna keep trucking away.
Do you prefer to go live, or do you prefer to record? I know some people like doing live better. Some people like recording better.
Live, like when I
like doing a show. Yeah.
Oh, I would say I like recording music better if I were to pick, because that's where it started from, anyways. Making the song, writing it, listening to it, being in the studio, then jumping on one of these mics and laying it down, mixing it, mastering it, make it sound good. Which my mixing and mastering was for a while. I had obviously a producer, so now I've been stuck trying to produce my own the past few years because he's not here, and I still got a lot to do. I'm still a lot to learn from that. We've been going through a bunch of production phases the past few months, I should say, but it's getting better. The quality's gonna get up there.
So I just give like a little 10-minute. So we're nearing that. So I just let people know. Now I struggled with that. So don't feel rushed. Still talk like you normally would, because I don't want nobody to ever feel rushed. I just like giving a heads up. So it's not like all of a sudden I'm like, all right, thank you for coming on. Bye.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. Non-musical influences that impact your work.
Non-musical influences.
Mm-hmm.
Like I drew inspiration. Just an example. I drew inspiration from AA for this. So
I smoke some weed, man, and it gets me inspired, bro.
Okay.
To be honest, I always do.
right on.
It just keeps me moving and let me know, like, all right, we can tackle life. You know what I mean? And I can just feel like I can do anything.
Hey, weed can be a tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Seriously.
If I don't smoke,
I believe that.
If I don't smoke weed, I don't want to do shit. Like, I don't even answer my phone. Like, just lay there and watch some TV,
It's funny because normally that's the opposite. Normally you smoke some weed, all I want to do is watch TV.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say too. Is like I tell these guys, like, I can't smoke indica. I'm sleeping. Like, these guys are smoking indica. When they leave, I'm out like a light. You know what I mean? I smoke sativa. I'm up all day. I'm ready to record all night. So.
Hell yeah. Do you have a message for any aspiring artists? Like is there anything you
Is
would
there any advice you would give to anybody?
To never give up. Don't stop. Like, if that's really what you want, if that's what you're trying to grab a hold of, there's no ending. You know what I mean? There's no limits. You just keep pushing. Don't let nothing stop you. People are gonna tell you, oh, you shouldn't rap, you shouldn't make music. Some people are gonna say that, but what are they doing? Wow, how are they? Their advice doesn't mean nothing to that person,
Man, I just read something. Don't take constructive criticism from somebody who ain't never constructed shit.
Right.
So,
And there's a difference between criticism and feedback.
well, yeah, for sure. But I loved hearing that. Or why would I take advice from somebody I don't want to be like? Like, I don't want to be like you. Why not take your advice?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I like that though. How you said that's what you really want, because that's a big part. If that's what you really want, go for it. Because some people I think get that misconstrued. I really want this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want that. You want the title, or you want the money, or you want the clout. You don't really care about the actual whatever.
Right, and it's a lot that comes with being in making music. There's a lot that comes with really anything that you do, especially like with what you guys do or any type of other business out there. You gotta really have that full dedication to that.
Yep.
I feel. You know what I mean?
No, man, I've been trying to go live. I'm just going to be straightforward. I've been trying to go live on, because I got to do some stupid shit. I've been trying to go live on TikTok at the same time, and I can't seem to do that off my camera. So, perfect. So, sorry about
So
that.
you did get it live?
Yeah, on TikTok, but I guess every hour I got to pull some stupid jigsaw puzzle over because it says not active. So I get up to do that. I just happen to look over. So sorry to interrupt the whole thing. Blah, 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 blah. What drives you as an artist? And what are you most passionate about outside of music?
I think seeing new music and people that are wanting to make music is what drives me.
Cool.
What was the other question?
What are you most passionate about outside of music?
My daughter.
I know.
Watching her grow, she's been through a lot. Her mother passed away 3 years ago, so watching her grow and trying to protect her from the world, even though it's hard. I just want to see her happy. She's doing great, full of smiles. You know what I mean? She's a bright kid.
Awesome.
I love her to death. She's my full-time bright shining star.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Man, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. I smile. So, dude, I get so much joy from hearing these stories. Like really, I do. I say this on every podcast, and dude, I'm just happy.
Yeah.
It's like it's nice seeing somebody from prison or Julie to prison to like, dude, you are just. I don't know how to explain. Not a quote, but you're like, dude, like you came in. I'm smiling. I'm smiling. You have an energy to you.
Yeah, I try to keep it a positive energy. I do have my times, and my people know that. They be like, man, why you get so angry about stuff? Sometimes I'm just so passionate, I can't even help when I get upset. I'm like, yeah, I'm just being me. But I know I gotta settle down in certain aspects because I do have a little, sometimes a temper. But I wish the world could be perfect. You know what I mean? But it can't. It's not ever gonna happen. So I'm frustrated with that.
Yeah, I get that. Though. I get so fucking fuming.
And I'm like, man, but I don't think I'd be like, why am I stuck at this red light right now for 10 minutes? That's how I am. Like,
How much time of your life have you spent at a red light?
oh, wow. I'm telling you a lot. And it's like when I told you I got pulled over on Page Ave on the 2nd, man. That motherfucking cop would come out of nowhere. And I asked him, I'm like, what? Why'd you get behind me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was, out of all them cars, why me?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was just pulling out. Bullshit. It was not just pulling out. You were off right
Do they just run plates?
Right,
Like
man.
you're behind somebody, they're not doing nothing wrong. You run a plate, you're like, oh.
Oh, they could be doing so much more with the time.
Yep. So
I mean, that's just me. I get they want to protect people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a fine line.
I know. I get that. I'm not going to speak on my feelings about the police or nothing. But the cop that arrested me, I feel like he saved my life. I really do.
Oh, cop, they can't
Yeah,
do
but,
it in certain aspects.
He's coming on in the next month, man. Fun cop. So it's funny. I say he saved my life in theory, but fuck, my dad got in a motorcycle accident. He was a responding officer, the chief of police in Napoleon. He fucking saved my dad. Literally saved my dad's life.
Physically.
Figuratively saved mine, but physically saved his, like for sure.
Right.
But yeah. There's one out of 100 that might be good.
Yeah.
What are you currently working on, and what's next for you?
Well, I think I'm gonna work with these artists that I have. I got so we're gonna work on some music with him. There's some more music started. My album's out right now, so I'm kind of on hold. I do got songs I'm working on.
Cool.
But I'm probably just gonna do a single a week. I'm gonna try to get these guys a single a week.
How can people find your music?
Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora Radio, wherever. Anything that will title. TikTok, Snapchat. You can listen to my music anywhere, really. His music too. Also, Don, C Mid. Who else? We got a lot of people on there. RC Swervo, Shorty McVeigh. There's a lot of people, man. A lot of people.
Dude, that's impressive though. You are on some big fucking platform.
Oh, I'm on every platform that you can think of. Amazon Music, iTunes, everywhere.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Dude,
I don't even know if Shazam's got a play thing, but obviously when you Shazam the song, it pops up.
Yeah. No, that's fucking dude. That's cool. And same thing. I've had a lot of artists. Not a lot, a handful, and no Pandora. No, that's cool, dude.
Yeah.
You are fucking.
I was messing with the Alexa speaker we got, at the studio. So I'm like messing with it, like Alexa, play cement so many questions, and it took forever, but it finally did.
Nice.
It took forever. I'm like, damn, man.
Hey, good shit though, man. Won't say I did it. You're there, man. So my wrap-up questions are pretty simple. Is there anything I missed, or is there any question I asked, or is there any question I should have asked?
No, man, I think you did great. I mean, yeah, you did good, especially with the research on the questions. And you did good.
Thank
I
you.
think you guys did good.
That means I did my job right. That's why I asked. Because if there was something I missed, then I'm like, well, I did all right, but not good. Not perfect.
Yeah.
What's your definition of success?
Definition of success would be overcoming all adversity, I guess.
Perfect.
Really overcome it and being a warrior.
If you could use one word to sum up your entire story from where it started to where you are now, what would it be? One word.
One word. Supercalifragilistic. Man, one word to say that again. One word to define me.
To define your whole story.
My
to
whole
where you
story?
started to where you are now.
Oh, a journey.
Sure.
Does that count?
Yeah, well, I just won't write the A in front of it. No, I'm just fucking- so I want to make sure I touched on the other things. So yeah, the Jack City stuff. Is there anything you want to plug in, or however you word that? Is there anything you want to say at the end of it, and then I will give you your gift card.
No, I think I'm gonna shout out to the Prison of Painter podcast. Jack City Records on YouTube. Cement on all platforms wherever you listen to music.
I'm gonna grab. We have our guest sign the table.
Yep, and then I'm going to. So this week it's just Runaway Party Store. It's down the road from Trips Auto. It's just a party store with home cooked Southern style cuisine, beer, wine, roasted chicken, full deli, and more for $25.
Really? There you go. I've never even been there.
Yep.
Roasted chicken.
Right across the
Really?
street from Jimmy's.
You know, the first time, I think it was last week, I went to Slinkers, and I've never been to
Oh
Slinkers.
my God.
And everyone was talking about these burgers. And I'm like, okay, let's go see.
Yeah.
They've been
And they're actually the best burgers I've ever tasted in my life.
Just buy your
they have been
shit.
voted the
Crazy.
best in Michigan.
That's crazy, man. You've been in Jackson way longer than me, and that's crazy. Yeah, I hate Flinkers.
Yeah, no, I've never even been there. It's crazy.
Well, awesome. Thank you for joining us. See you later, guys.
Yep. Peace out, guys. This has been Prisoner to Painter.
Cool.